Coming up, some high school students with high-flying career ambitions get real-world education and training in Southern California. Discover an elementary school in the heart of the Central Valley, where the world's largest aerospace company helps grow future pilots. Step into the cockpit and join an aerial formation of restored World War II airplanes, honoring the brave Americans who were part of our greatest generation. It's all next on More Knowledge Takes Flight. For many people pursuing aviation careers, it can be time-consuming and expensive to attend ground school to learn the basics of operating and flying aircraft. But students in Southern California have a much more affordable path, a 2-year certification course they can complete in high school.
Oh, there's traffic. Do you see it?
There's traffic. No, you have to go for this one. I've been interested in aviation for a very long time. I can learn and train and actually gain the information and knowledge in order to be ready for actual flying.
Now our objective is to just go straight back with the tail.
My brother came along and was like, "Hey, do you want to build airplanes?" And I was like, "Heck yes!" And so we joined in with the airplane restoration project, and I'm now just got an internship with the airport. I'm working towards a aviation certificate with the school, and I'm loving it.
Now we're going to check the tires that they're the proper inflation.
Is this flight school?
Because we'll do a full walk around and we'll end it at that tire.
No,
Okay.
it's high school.
Let's bring it over here.
John Green is getting his wings at River Springs Charter School in Riverside. And Mia Kayumjian is practicing her skills at Canyon High School, 35 miles away in Anaheim. They're among only a handful of high schools in California offering aviation as an elective course. 2 different flight paths to possible careers. John's program takes place near Flabob Airport, one of the oldest surviving airports in California.
So that way you're still facing a ridge.
I think that's good right there.
Mia's aspirations are taking flight thanks to the determination of teacher and pilot Steve Smith.
I felt like a lot of our students were just taking it because it sounded like a fun elective without really knowing the potential behind it.
His program started as a 1-year class. Students learned how planes fly and the fundamentals of operating them. Then he added a 2nd year, Aviation 2, a true ground school for pilots in training.
Yeah, it has to be something right there. John Wayne. John Wayne, there we go.
I started to see a higher level of students that are looking to do something with aviation, and they're taking the class because it's appealing to them as a potential career, not just a fun elective.
A lot of my weekends do get taken up, but the thing is, I love doing it. It's not necessary, it doesn't even feel like education because we're out there, we're on the flight lines.
I would definitely love to be able to have this as a career.
We believe it's not just good enough to give our students a high school diploma. We want our children to be empowered. We want them to hit the ground running when they graduate from high school, really knowing what their interests are, what their aptitudes are, and what they might want to do for a career.
For both schools, aviation is part of the so-called STEM initiative, a national drive to refocus public education on science, technology, engineering, and math. California has pumped $1.5 billion into public schools offering career technical education, or CTE, programs such as these.
It's just an exciting thing because you see kids getting a lot more engaged, a lot more excited about learning, and we know they're learning those core skills that are going to take them into the workplace and actually maybe get them a job.
I'm thinking we do a right pattern this time.
In addition to those workplace skills, students are learning the academic basics.
We cover science, we definitely incorporate technology. We discuss a little bit on the engineering side with physics and everything else in the design. And then, of course, math. We use math for calculating performance data and weight and balance and everything else.
It just kind of connects all the subjects, and I think it's a really good thing. Even history, I mean, we learned about World War II and with the aviation side of it, and World War I when Air Force just began.
Before even the Air Force began, a couple of aviation students named Orville and Wilbur Wright made history with a plane like this one. Over at Flabob Airport, a replica plane is part of an internship program for River Springs students interested in technical careers.
There's so much you can do if you know how to use your hands and a few tools. And it's really, I think it's a part of learning how to use your brain, because it's what your brain is using, you know, and you have to teach it somehow. And you don't teach it by tapping on the board all the time.
There's also a financial benefit for students training at their public school when compared to the cost of private training.
Typically, you're looking anywhere from about $8,000 to potentially $14,000 just to get that private pilot's license. With the simulators, they're getting real flight lessons, just in small pieces. So I'm teaching them the maneuvers and the procedures that they would learn, that they would perform in an actual airplane, and they get to practice it here for free.
The simulators and computers and 3D printer are among the purchases Canyon High School made with CTE grant money. The engineless airplane parked in the school's former auto shop was free, a donation from an industry contact.
Some of these students don't necessarily enjoy the classroom portion. They want to get their hands dirty and they want to work with their hands, and we don't have many opportunities for them to do that anymore. So the flaps in this airplane, it almost looks like a parking brake. I get to go around the airplane and say, okay, well, what is this? What does it do? And they're taking what they saw on paper or on a screen, and now they're seeing it in real life, and they get to touch it, and they get to move the aileron and see how it works.
While students dismantle instruments and get real airplanes oiled up and checked out at River Springs and Flaybob, both schools stop just shy of officially getting them off the ground. There are insurance barriers and the significant costs of fuel and maintenance. So, although these planes don't actually take off, certain students can taxi them around the runway, all part of the hands-on approach.
I tell my teachers, I don't want you to be a teacher, I want you to be a facilitator of learning. I want you to provide the resources, provide the challenges to the students, and guide them through self-discovery to learn the content.
But still, why aviation? In Southern California, long a hotbed of aviation and aerospace, an urgent need is looming.
The pilot shortage is coming, and it's a real concern for the airlines especially. Pilots have a mandatory retirement age of 65 that's set by the FAA, and so the concern is that we are not going to have enough pilots to fill the jobs that are about to be available.
Throughout the next few years, there's going to be less pilots, and so I think starting at this young of age and just being able to get that head start is something that most people don't get.
All of us were just really lucky to be able to be brought up in the program at our age.
Over in Riverside, River Springs Charter School eagerly anticipates building new aviation classrooms right next to the runway at Flaybob Airport. While at Canyon, Steve Smith hopes to build aviation up to a 4-year program, perhaps even offering training in drone operations.
I feel like a program like this, it's just going to give them another reason to do their best in school, in their other classes. If they decide, yeah, I want to be a pilot, well then your education matters, and you have something that you're working toward. It's not just, I just need to graduate high school.
Experts estimate there will be a need for 600,000 new pilots globally by the year 2035. While much of that demand is in the Asia-Pacific region, nearly 20% of those new aviation jobs will be right here in North America. Airlines are taking notice, and Emirates Airline has responded by building a new flight school in Dubai that can train 600 pilots at a time.
The town of Reedley near Fresno is part of a region known for growing fruits and vegetables, but now it's growing aviation careers. We'll visit the first school in the U.S. where Boeing, the world's largest aerospace company, partnered with the school to provide a flight simulator and opportunities leading to careers as pilots, engineers, mechanics, and other aviation-related jobs.
So we got these aircraft. They were shipped in from Slovenia. We put them together. Literally, one of our partners here put them together.
Anthony is a 5th grade student at Jefferson Elementary in Reedley, a town of around 25,000 people, about 30 minutes outside of Fresno. He's made a name for himself as the school's top pilot on a new flight simulator located in the school library.
I've actually never been in an airplane. I would like to go visit Spain because it's really big and I think it's really cool. Like, I've seen pictures and videos of like YouTubers go there, and I just really think it would be a really nice place to visit.
Most of Anthony's classmates have never been on an airplane either. Many haven't traveled outside of the Central Valley.
Reedley is actually known as the world's fruit basket. By virtue of that, a lot of our students' parents work in the agricultural industry. So everything from laboring in the field all the way through owning packing sheds and anywhere in between.
So when you think Reedley, when you think Central Valley, you often do think fruit and agriculture. We're the world's fruit basket. What people don't really know about is we have a rich aviation history in the Central Valley that dates all the way back to World War II.
When Nicole Ziba became Reedley's city manager in 2011, the city had a 33% unemployment rate. By 2018, that number dropped to 12%, but it was still 3 times the national average. In an effort to lessen the reliance on agriculture, Reedley looked towards the past and decided to invest in aviation. Through grant funding, they purchased 4 all-electric airplanes. The goal? To offer low-cost pilot training. Boeing, the world's largest aerospace company, took notice.
Boeing became aware of the city of Reedley and their interest in aviation through their electric aircraft program. And as a result of the discussions in that project, this idea of bringing the gamification of simulators to the elementary and the middle school was born.
Jefferson is the first school in the nation to be part of Boeing's effort to encourage more young people to choose careers in aviation.
Boeing publishes what we call the Pilot and Technician Outlook, and that forecast of labor needs over the next 20 years expects that we need 804,000 new pilots and close to 800,000 new aircraft maintainers globally over the next 20 years. The studies, the research, the surveys we've done shows that the majority of people that are active and excited in training or in their careers first had their exposure to aviation in their formative years, ages 8 to 11.
When a student sits in the flight simulator seat, they're actually sitting in what feels like a pilot's chair. They're actually holding onto a yoke that feels like that of what a pilot would hold onto. They see dials, they see all sorts of different measurements that you would see in a cockpit.
The simulator not only allows students to change the type of aircraft they're flying, it also allows to change what type of weather they're flying in. So once they are able to master flight, they can start working on how do you fly if it's foggy? How do you fly in the rain?
I really like it because I like using the control a lot. That's one of my favorite parts of it. And I really like doing other modes on it, like there's military jets and like there's other courses.
We know we're giving them an opportunity to expose them to careers that could really help change their lives. And they could be pilots, they could be flight crew, they could be aviation mechanics, and we know that these are good paying jobs that eventually someday they may have the opportunity to go into.
I've never seen such awesome teamwork where they're not fighting, they're not pushing. They wait and they're encouraging each other, cheering each other on. They're coaching one another. If you do this, this is what it does. If you do that, this is what will happen.
Like basic comments. I want to be a pilot because I like the view.
Kaylee first got interested in aviation when she learned about Amelia Earhart in school. The 4th grader says she wants to become a pilot.
This is actually really fun, and I want to do it every single day.
By piquing the interest early in elementary school, once students get to Reedley High School, they can take dual enrollment classes at Reedley College, earning high school and college credit simultaneously. Reedley College, established in 1926, is best known for its agriculture programs, but students can also earn an associate's degree in flight science or aviation maintenance technology. If the current students using the flight simulator at Jefferson see the aviation pathway through, in just 10 years, they could be certified commercial pilots.
I can see see how this is going to bring a new perspective to our town. It's aviation. We're a farming community. This is a new look.
World War II was fought on the battlefields of Europe and the Pacific Theater, but here at home, our Valley Air Bases, Mather, McClellan, and Travis, played vital roles in helping America win the war. Opened in 1918, Mather Field was the Valley's first military base located in Sacramento County. Named for Lieutenant Carl Mather, who was killed during pilot training in World War I, Mather Field was designed as a major training facility for upcoming pilots, navigators, and bombardiers. Opened in 1938, McClellan Air Force Base was Sacramento County's second military base. Originally named Pacific Air Depot, the base was renamed Sacramento Air Depot, and finally McClellan Air Force Base. Named for Major Hezekiah McClellan, the base was designed as a maintenance facility for frontline aircraft, like the B-25 bomber used in the Pacific Theater. By 1942, McClellan and Mather were in full operation. Mather was the only navigational school for the Army Air Force, but the U.S. Department of War decided another base was needed in Fairfield because of its proximity to major east-west railroads and highways. Travis Air Base was originally named Fairfield Sassoon Army Air Base, but its name was changed in 1951 to honor General Robert Travis, who lost his life on a mission during the Korean War. At their peak, these Valley Air Bases had up to 30,000 employees. Many came from all over the U.S., but ended up making the Central Valley their home. Sometimes a thrilling aerial adventure offers its own unique educational experience. Rob Stewart takes the co-pilot seat in a formation of 4 restored World War II airplanes. It's a chance to soar high above the valley and honor the brave Americans whose aerial exploits made them part of the greatest generation.
Chuck Wall, good to see you.
Good to see you again, Rob.
Yeah, nice to be out here with you in front of your beautiful plane.
Thank you. So it's a lot of fun to take up people and show them what it was like to fly the older airplanes and experience what I get to do, fortunately, all the time. To be able to carry on flying these very airplanes that are left over from World War II, it's an honor, quite frankly.
And Navy runway 22 right, taxi via Alpha Bravo, and we'll see if we can put you in.
Navy flight, taxi via Alpha Bravo to 22 right. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Rob, you ready?
I'm ready. That is so cool. This is spectacular. You must love this.
Yeah, it's the way life is for me. Wouldn't change it for a world.
Oh wow, look Chuck, they're all forming around.
Yeah, what we're going to do is an element takeoff.
Navy flight runway 22 right, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 22 right, Navy flight.
Release the
brakes. We're going. Here we go.
So Rob, what we're doing here is a standard formation join up, and we're going to make a left 270 here. I have my one wingman on my wing that I took off with me, and if you look back behind you, you'll see the other flight of 2 airplanes.
Oh my gosh, there they are. Okay, that is one of the wildest things I've ever seen.
This is how all your naval aviators trained during World War II and still to this day.
Look at that. I can't believe how close everybody is. That is so much skill, Chuck.
Well, these guys have been doing it an awful long time. It's a lot of fun. It's a passion. It's something that everybody takes very professionally. All right, guys, nice join up, by the way. Looked just perfect. Great job.
Chuck, why is this formation and why was this formation so important when it comes to training?
Well, we can do this entire flight without using a radio. It's very important that everything is structured and everybody knows what's going on. And you can take 4 airplanes and go out on patrol. You can go out into a bombing mission or a fighter mission, and you have plenty of friends to help you out when things turn bad. And now what I'm going to do is give an airplane signal, not a hand signal, to go in trail. So you'll find that the guy on my left here is going to go back behind me. As soon as the yellow airplane and the silver airplane move it back farther.
This is honestly one of the most spectacular things I have ever seen.
We have a lot of fun doing this. I'm glad you're enjoying it. So you probably can't see it back behind you, Rob, but what I got is basically a daisy chain of airplanes behind me. And as lead, you want to make all your turns and maneuvers very gentle because you've got 3 other airplanes flying off of you. So very quick, abrupt actions are really not the best thing to do because it'll catch your wingman off guard.
Are these techniques still taught today?
Yes, from the Air Force, the Marines, and the Navy, all branches of service still practice, train and practice all these maneuvers, and they're still used in combat sorties to this very day. Navy flight, smoke on now. Smoke off now.
I can't help but think about the moving history right now. This plane was used back during World War II. It's awesome. Really tough times, and now look what it is used for. Such beauty and enjoyment.
Yeah, thousands and thousands of aviators went through training in this very airplane to learn how to take off and land on an aircraft carrier, do airwork maneuvers, instrument training, and when they finally checked out and got their wings, they were given a fighter and sent off to war.
So we're sitting here, the canopy's open. We're literally in open air. And it just feels so peaceful, Chuck.
It's the way it ought to be, Rob. Our next maneuver we're going to do, Rob, is called a break up and rejoin. Navy flight, smoke on now. Smoke off now, and I'm kissing the brake. Here's our brake. We're going to pull 2 Gs, 180-degree turn.
Oh my God!
See your smoke off the left? I'm going to roll level. And now we wait for the 4 airplanes to check in and trail.
I was not expecting that.
And we're going to go to the right. And now watch what everybody does off the right-hand wing. The blue airplane is going to come right up the line of string here to us and just park it right on the wing and sit there. The yellow airplane is going to come right up on his wing and then scoot right underneath and right to the outside of the turn. There he goes, crossing under. And the number 4 airplane follows the yellow airplane because he is the wingman for that element lead.
Wow! Do you think about those veterans when you're up here? I know I do.
Oh, all the time. My grandfather flew in World War II. My dad flew in Vietnam. And I've spent my entire life in an aviation career, and I only hope someday my son and daughter decide they want to continue flying, whether it's military or civilian. Okay, we got our gear down, the lock, gas is on the right tank, and the flaps are down, airspeed's checked.
And Navy flight runway 22 right, clear to land.
Clear to land, 22 right, Navy flight. Thank you, sir. Wow, wow.